What if I told you your knee pain isn't really starting in your knees at all? 6 everyday things, ranked from good to genuinely life-changing, may help calm the hidden inflammation that's quietly wearing down your joints. And one of them isn't even a food. Most people over 60 keep reaching for the same pain cream, the same bottle of pills, or they simply blame it on getting older, while the real problem sits quietly untouched underneath it all, year after year. Today, I'm counting down 6 things researchers link to real relief for knee pain, from a solid everyday habit all the way up to the single most powerful, evidence-backed step of them all. This isn't a list of miracle cures, and it's not about spending a fortune on supplements you've never heard of. It's about understanding exactly what's fueling the inflammation in your joints, and what genuinely calms it down, according to real clinical research, not internet rumors. But before we get to the solutions, we need to talk about something almost nobody mentions: the everyday foods that may be quietly making your knee pain worse, sometimes without you ever suspecting them at all. You could be doing everything else right and still working against yourself at every single meal without ever realizing it. So stay with me until the very end, because the number 3 remedy might surprise you, and the number 1 spot on this list isn't a supplement or a spice at all. It's something almost anyone can start doing today, for free, right in their own living room, and it may outperform everything else on this list combined. Before we talk about what helps, let's talk honestly about what hurts. Refined sugar is one of the biggest offenders. Research has consistently linked higher blood sugar levels to stiffer tendons and increased inflammatory markers throughout the body, which means that donut or sugary soda isn't just bad for your waistline, it's quietly working against your joints too, every single time you reach for it. Fried and heavily processed foods are another major trigger. The high-heat cooking process creates compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, which studies have linked to increased inflammatory cytokines and joint discomfort, and this includes processed meats like bacon and deli slices. Then there are seed oils, high in omega-6 fatty acids, things like corn oil, soybean oil, and many packaged snack foods. The average American diet leans heavily toward omega-6 over omega-3, sometimes by a ratio of 20-to-1 or more, and researchers have found that this imbalance fuels chronic, low-grade inflammation instead of calming it. Refined carbohydrates, white bread, pastries, and regular pasta behave almost like sugar once they hit your bloodstream, spiking blood glucose and adding fuel to that same inflammatory fire, while also crowding out the fiber your joints actually benefit from. And finally, alcohol in excess, more than 1 drink a day for women or 2 for men, has been shown to disrupt gut health, creating a condition researchers call leaky gut, which reduces your body's ability to absorb the very nutrients that fight inflammation. None of this means you need to eat perfectly. It simply means these 5 categories deserve a second look if your knees have been talking to you lately. The solution: 6 remedies, from good to life-changing now, for the part you've been waiting for. I'm counting these up in order of potency, starting with a solid, well-supported option, and building all the way to the single most powerful step you can take, so make sure you stay for all 6, because each one builds on the last. Number 6. Tart cherry juice. Coming in at number 6 is tart cherry juice, and while it's the gentlest option on this list, it's far from useless. A randomized placebo-controlled study conducted at Oregon Health and Science University gave women between the ages of 40 and 70 with inflammatory osteoarthritis tart cherry juice twice daily for 3 weeks, and researchers observed a meaningful drop in key inflammation markers, including C-reactive protein, especially among those who started with the highest inflammation levels. A separate review published in the journal Osteoarthritis and Cartilage found that tart cherry juice was associated with reduced cartilage degradation markers and improved WOMAC pain scores over time, meaning participants could genuinely move and function better, not just feel a little different. Tart cherries get their power from anthocyanins, the deep red pigment compounds that give them their color and their strong antioxidant punch. Some researchers have gone as far as calling tart cherries one of the most anti-inflammatory foods ever studied in the lab. One small glass, roughly 8 ounces, in the evening is enough to bring these compounds into your system without added sugar working against you. Just be sure to choose unsweetened tart cherry juice rather than a cherry-flavored drink loaded with syrup, since that would quietly undo the very benefit you're trying to get in the first place, turning a helpful habit into just another source of blood sugar spikes. And if you're managing diabetes or watching your blood sugar closely, it's worth checking the label carefully or talking to your doctor first, since even the natural sugars in cherry juice can add up over a week of daily use. And moderation still matters, even with foods this beneficial. For seniors specifically, this makes a gentle, low-effort starting point, something you can add to your evening routine tonight without changing anything else about how you already eat. And many people find it easier to stick with simply because it feels more like a small treat than a chore. Number 5. Flaxseed and walnuts. Moving up to number 5, we have a plant-based pairing that's been sitting quietly in kitchens for generations. Ground flaxseed and walnuts. Both are rich in plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, and a randomized placebo-controlled clinical trial found that flaxseed oil meaningfully improved pain severity and daily function in people with knee osteoarthritis compared to those given a placebo. The key word here is ground. Whole flaxseed passes through your digestive system largely intact, meaning your body absorbs very little of its benefit, so it needs to be ground fresh, ideally right before eating, for your digestive system to actually access what's inside and put it to work. 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed paired with 2 whole walnuts, eaten in the morning, stirred into yogurt or oatmeal, is enough to make a genuine difference over the following weeks. Walnuts add something extra too. Manganese, a trace mineral your body uses directly when rebuilding cartilage tissue after everyday wear and tear. Together, this pairing works from 2 angles at once, cooling inflammation from the inside, while simultaneously supplying raw material your joints can actually use to repair themselves, which is part of why researchers keep circling back to this particular combination in studies on joint health. One small note worth mentioning: if you're on blood-thinning medication, it's worth checking with your doctor before adding large amounts of flaxseed to your diet, since it can have a mild effect on blood clotting at higher doses, though the small amount used here is generally considered safe for most people. As we age, our bodies also tend to produce omega-3s less efficiently on their own, which is exactly why getting them directly from food like this matters more after 60 than it did decades earlier, back when your body could compensate for a less than ideal diet without you noticing much difference at all. Number 4. Extra virgin olive oil. At number 4, we have extra virgin olive oil, and the science behind this one genuinely surprised researchers when it was first discovered decades ago. Olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal, and multiple studies, including research published in Nature Reviews Rheumatology, found that oleocanthal inhibits the same COX-1 and COX-2 inflammatory enzymes that ibuprofen targets, essentially working through a strikingly similar pathway as a common over-the-counter pain reliever, just at a gentler, more gradual pace. The Arthritis Foundation has highlighted this research, noting that the peppery, throat-tingling sensation you feel in high-quality extra virgin olive oil is actually a sign of oleocanthal at work, doing its job right there in your mouth. 2 tablespoons a day, drizzled over vegetables, salads, or used in place of butter for cooking at lower temperatures, is a simple way to bring this into your daily routine without changing much else about how you already eat. Some people even use a small amount topically, gently massaged into the skin around the knee, though the strongest evidence still points to consuming it as part of your daily meals for the most reliable, consistent benefit over time. Just make sure the label says extra virgin, since more processed olive oils lose much of this beneficial compound during refining. And look for a harvest date if you can find one, since fresher oil tends to carry a stronger dose of oleocanthal than oil that's been sitting on a shelf for a year or more. It's also worth remembering that olive oil is still calorie dense, so 2 tablespoons a day, not an unlimited amount, tends to be the sweet spot researchers point to. For older adults especially, swapping butter or processed spreads for olive oil is one of the easiest changes on this entire list, since it doesn't require adding a new step to your day, just switching what's already in the bottle on your counter, which makes it one of the more forgettable in a good way habits to maintain long-term. Number 3. Fatty fish. Climbing to number 3, we have fatty fish, specifically salmon, sardines, and mackerel. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed more than 2,000 adults and found that those with the highest omega-3 intake experienced significantly less cartilage loss in their knees over a 2-year period compared to those with the lowest intake, a meaningful finding given how gradual cartilage loss usually is. Unlike plant-based omega-3s, fatty fish delivers EPA and DHA directly, the 2 forms of omega-3 your body uses most efficiently to fight joint inflammation, without needing to convert them first, the way it does with flaxseed. 2 servings a week is the general target researchers point to, and canned salmon or sardines make this remarkably easy and affordable. There's no need for anything fancy or expensive to see the benefit here. A simple baked salmon fillet with lemon and herbs, or sardines on whole grain toast with a drizzle of olive oil, checks this box without requiring a trip to a specialty grocery store or any real cooking skill at all. If fresh fish feels intimidating, canned versions carry nearly the same benefit and last far longer in your pantry, making them a genuinely practical option for anyone who doesn't want to plan meals around fresh seafood. As for mercury concerns, salmon and sardines are both considered low-mercury choices, generally safe to eat a couple of times a week, even for older adults keeping an eye on that particular issue. This one matters more the longer you've been dealing with knee pain, since cartilage loss tends to be gradual, and the same steady, consistent omega-3 intake that slows it down needs time, not a single big dose, to make a real difference, which is part of why researchers tend to study its effects over months rather than days. Number 2. Turmeric, ginger, and black pepper. At number 2, we have a combination researchers keep coming back to, study after study. Turmeric, ginger, and a pinch of black pepper. Turmeric contains curcumin, one of the most extensively studied natural anti-inflammatory compounds available anywhere. But on its own, curcumin is poorly absorbed by the human body, passing through largely unused no matter how much you take. A systematic review and network meta-analysis covering 17 separate clinical studies found that turmeric consistently reduced knee osteoarthritis pain scores compared to placebo, and formulations paired specifically with black pepper performed even better, since piperine, the active compound in black pepper, has been shown to dramatically increase how much curcumin your body actually absorbs and puts to use. Ginger adds its own benefit too. Multiple randomized controlled trials comparing turmeric and ginger combinations against common over-the-counter pain relievers found comparable reductions in key inflammatory markers within the body, without the same digestive side effects some people experience with daily pain medication. 1 cup of warm water, half a teaspoon of turmeric, a small amount of freshly grated ginger, and a pinch of black pepper stirred in at the end, taken 20 minutes before breakfast, is genuinely all it takes to bring this well-studied combination into your daily routine. One important note: if you're on blood thinners or preparing for any kind of surgery, turmeric in larger amounts can have a mild blood-thinning effect of its own, so it's worth mentioning to your doctor, especially if you're already taking medication that affects clotting. This combination consistently ranks near the top of joint health research for a reason, and for people over 60 already managing multiple daily habits, it's reassuring to know that 1 small cup of tea covers this much scientific ground without adding another pill bottle to the counter. Number 1. Quadriceps strengthening. And now, the number 1 spot, and it isn't a food at all. It's your quadriceps, the muscle group running along the front of your thigh, directly above your kneecap, controlling much of how your knee moves, and absorbs impact throughout the day. Physical therapy research has consistently found that strengthening this muscle group significantly reduces the mechanical load placed on the knee joint itself, and some studies suggest it can cut perceived pain by a meaningful margin, simply because stronger thigh muscles absorb more of the impact that would otherwise land directly on the joint with every single step you take. You don't need a gym membership or heavy weights to see this benefit build over time. Seated leg extensions in a sturdy chair, or slow, supported chair stands where you rise and sit with control, done gently and consistently, just 10 minutes a day, can genuinely outperform nearly everything else on this list given enough time. This is the one habit that turns everything else here from good into genuinely life-changing, because strong muscles protect the joint every single time you move, whether you're eating well that day or not. If you've had a knee replacement or any recent surgery, it's worth checking with your physical therapist or doctor first to make sure these particular movements fit your recovery stage. But for most people simply dealing with everyday age-related knee pain, this is one of the safest, most accessible exercises available. Unlike the other 5 items on this list, this one doesn't cost anything, doesn't require a grocery run, and can be done sitting right where you are, which is exactly why researchers consider it the single most powerful, most underused tool for people over 60 looking for real, lasting relief. One that keeps working for as long as you keep showing up for it. How to combine them daily. Here's what a simple day might realistically look like. In the morning, about 20 minutes before breakfast, drink your turmeric, ginger, and black pepper tea on a relatively empty stomach, giving it time to be absorbed before food arrives. At breakfast itself, stir a tablespoon of ground flaxseed and 2 walnuts into your oatmeal or plain yogurt. For lunch, drizzle 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil over a salad or roasted vegetables, and on 2 days each week, make that lunch or dinner a fatty fish day, baked salmon or sardines on toast, so you're covering both your omega-3 sources across the week. Sometime in the afternoon, while watching television or listening to music, spend just 10 minutes on your quadriceps routine, seated leg extensions, or supported chair stands, since pairing it with something you already do makes it far easier to stick with long-term. Then, in the evening, finish the day with a small glass of unsweetened tart cherry juice, about an hour or so before bed. None of this takes more than a few extra minutes woven into a day you're already living, and together, these 6 habits target inflammation, lubrication, and joint strength from every possible angle at once. You don't have to start with all 6 on day 1 either. If this feels like a lot, pick just 2. The turmeric tea and the quadriceps routine tend to give people the fastest sense of progress, and build from there once those 2 feel like second nature. Small, sustainable changes tend to stick far longer than a complete overhaul attempted all at once, especially when you're building a routine meant to last for years, not just a few motivated weeks. And the goal here was never perfection, just steady, honest progress you can actually maintain. You don't need a prescription, a specialist, or an expensive supplement aisle to start protecting your knees. 6 simple, well-researched habits: tart cherry juice, flaxseed and walnuts, olive oil, fatty fish, turmeric with ginger, and daily quadriceps strengthening work together from every angle: inflammation, lubrication, and mechanical support. Give it 2 to 3 weeks of real consistency, and pay close attention to how your knees feel each morning, from the moment your feet hit the floor. This information is meant to support your routine, not replace guidance from your own doctor, especially if you're managing a diagnosed joint condition or taking medication, so check in with them before making any major changes. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit from it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.